when in the last day of the genocide of Armenians in so-called Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republic, Baku and Sumgait, they reported about this, and Politburo made a special meeting. Minister of Defense and Foreign Minister Marshal Yazov and Mr. Shevardnadze, Minister of Defense and Minister for, they reported Gorbachev, who was the General Secretary and President, first and the last President of the Soviet Union. I don't like that president and that country. It was an evil empire for me and my state, my country, my nation. They say, how they kill Armenians? They say, they take the from the alive people, their skin. They were alive, but they take the skin, and all the crowd was around, and they applause and cheering for that. And they brought even 2 years old small Azerbaijani babies to see that, because that was lesson for their life. They will do that next generation. You saw, this is the education of Turkish nation. Armenians are.
That was 1980.
1988 February. That was genocide of Armenians in Sumgait, but that was the start of genocide, and it lasted until 1990, until 1991. And you can read, by the way, in the YouTube you can find, and in LinkedIn also, the interview of Mr. Garry Kasparov, who was the champion of chess. He was from Baku, and he said in this interview, I was born in Baku, and my ancestor was from Nagorno-Karabakh, or Artsakh, which is Armenian province. And because I was half Armenian and half Jew, I couldn't stay in that state. I fled from Baku to Moscow, and I saved a lot of Armenians on my aircraft. I brought them on plane to Moscow. Me personally, I met a lot of people from Azerbaijan who fled from Turkestan, from Azerbaijan to Yerevan. I met them. They have been broken. Their eyes, they in blood, face. Everything was, that was a genocide. I witnessed that. Not only me. There are KGB videos, because video was only in the hands of KGB in the Soviet Union, in 1988. And they have all these cadres, some of them, they made this. They genocided the Armenians. They made this Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. They knew that that's an Armenian county, that's an Armenian okrug, that's an Armenian province. But they, in 1921, Mr. Stalin gave to Azerbaijan because they want a weak Armenia and they want to please Turkey, Mr. Kemal Atatürk. And the same, they give Armenian provinces to Georgia in order to make Armenia smaller. And they gave Nakhichevan, which is an enclave between Iran and Armenia, to Azerbaijan. No any road to Azerbaijan. Now they are working. They want, with the help of Russia, made it, this road, but America is stopping them. They don't give this Azerbaijani President Aliyev or Sultan Aliyev or Sheikh Aliyev, the son of the Heydar Aliyev, KGB general, to make this road to Turkey, because Nakhichevan is, in fact, Armenian land. In 1919, British army went to Nakhichevan, took it from Turks and gave to Armenia. Went to Kars, took it from Turks and gave to Armenia, because we have been allies. But Russians are our enemies. They are not allies. They are real enemies. Enemy number one of our existence. And Nakhichevan Armenians, now there were 500,000 of Armenians in 1920, 100 years ago, and now 0 Armenians in Nakhichevan. And if Armenian army, with the help of Western countries, because we have become one of destroyers of the Soviet Union, Armenian nation became one of destroyers of Berlin Wall. Yes, Armenia became one of the destroyers of Berlin Wall. They gave us back our territory in Artsakh, and they saved 160,000 Armenians of this province. Yes, West, 31 years, they keep it Armenian. With Armenian passports, Americans and other Western countries gave this Artsakh or Karabakh Armenians possibility to go all over the world. This means they silently understand that this is part of Armenia. But again, Russians came and Armenia destroyed. We lost this territory, again genocide, and from 116,000 of Armenians, only 60,000 left in Karabakh. And the last road in Lachin or Bertazor is closed by the order of Putin. Yerevan KGB agents, so-called Armenian government, surrendered the last 3 villages between Armenia and Artsakh, and so-called Azerbaijani Sultan is applauding Putin because they are so-called, they are allies. But for the Western countries, Aliyev and Ukraine, they say, oh, we make a second front against Russia. You see what political prostitute does these Turks? This political prostitution. When you say Russia, oh, give me this Armenian lands, they gave you, and then you say Ukraine, hey, Ukrainians, we are allies against Russia. We will make a front against them. And we took Armenian lands. Armenia is your enemy. We are your friend. Armenia is not enemy. Armenia is nothing. It's not an independent country to be enemy or friend. It doesn't deciding its policy. It's deciding about Russia. This is like one of our purposes, Stefan, must be the liberation of Armenia. But without liberating the mind of Armenians, and not only of Armenians, also New Zealanders, Australians, Ukrainians, Russians, and even Europeans, Americans, everybody, from these lies of Russia, lies of Turkey, because the lie is the first basement of evil empire. The second basement is force, troops. But the first one is lie. This is why the hierarchies are different. You said me about Americans doing this, Russians this. No, this is completely different. Principal difference between them, because Armenia is landed freedom and now became slave and captive nation. And America recognized Armenia as a captive nation. Even in 1956, I think they again confirmed that. They know that. And they are trying, they know that our so-called governors are Russian agents, but America is doing, and Britain and European countries, especially France, they are trying to help Armenian people. Not the governors, but the people. But they must speak to governors. But these governors, they technically, they not allowed to speak anything. This is why genocide of Armenians is not recognized worldwide. Only 33 countries, of course, that's very good. You know the names of that countries, maybe America, France, even Germany, a lot of countries. Even Russia, because Russia is a hypocritic country. He can do something like this, but the really other things. They even recognize the Turks, not Russians, genocided Armenians, massacred Turks. But look, in this recognition, they wrote in the Ottoman Empire, not in the Western Armenia. This is also kind of deceiving. But anyway, 33 countries. Unfortunately, there is no New Zealand. There is no even Australia. But part of these countries, for instance, New South Wales and others, they recognize in their parliaments the fact of Armenian genocide. And I think it will be the fact one day. But even this is not very, very, very important in this case. Important is this truth that we are speaking each other and giving possibility to our brothers and sisters in Australia, in New Zealand, in America, in Armenia, in Russia, everywhere, to understand what is going, what is the truth. This is first. And the second one, you know what? Our governors and Armenian diaspora bosses, they are deceived by, put on the wrong way by KGB. They say, hey, go to recognize Armenian genocide, go to the parliaments and make lobbying this way, America, Australia, France. For what? America already recognized in 1920, even Ottoman Turkey in 1919 by its military tribunal, trialed and executed some of them, for instance, some pashas, but they then didn't kill them because they took by Britain to Malta. Malta was under British control that time, and they fled to Germany, but Armenians started kill them, so-called Armenian freedom fighters or revengers. They killed some of them. Talat Pasha was killed in Berlin, and Berlin court recognized the killer, that he's not killer, he's just a revenger. Why? Because Germany kind of want some kind to take off from him this historical burden, because they have been ally of a fascist country like Turkey was. So they did something bad against Armenians. Now Germany completely accept the fact of it's one of 33 countries accepted recognizing the Armenian genocide, and which is very, very important. Germany and Austria. Why? Because those countries, you remember, they have been the allies of Turkey, and the archives, we have a lot of things, because Turkish customer services in the World War, they could stop anything going from Turkey to European and other countries, excepting Germany and Austria, because these countries had diplomatic clearance and diplomatic so-called immunity. This is why we have real documents in Germany and Austria and in Turkey, but Turkey closed it like Russia from 1915 until now. And they say, oh, our archives are good, you can come and do. But who knows Ottoman Turkish language, because you changed your script. It was Arabic and now Latin. Even Turks can't read it. It's first, you must have specialists first. Second, if I go to Turkey, they will give me the military archive? Of course not. I know that, because they already cleansed everything. This is second. You understand that when you don't like the truth, you are covered, you are criminal, and you are ready to repeat this crime. This is what we must, guys, we must force them to accept the truth. And I'm very thankful to you, Stephen. You are a very great guy. And if we have a lot of people like you are, we can bring this truth to all over the nations, all over the world. Without truth, our civilization is under the threat of genocide. All of it. You see, if Ukraine will not stop I said Turks. Okay, the Turks also, they are behind of Russia. You know that. You understand now that.
And again, we have got the technical difficulties.
Stephen, we exceeded our time.
Oh,
hello.
hello.
We spoke about 2 hours.
Get you back.
Now we are speaking 2 hours and 31 minutes.
I know. My bladder was interrupting me.
Anyway, if you want, we can stop on this for a moment. Well, maybe we can do another one later if you want. And of course, if you have any questions, I must answer. I'll try to do that short. But,
no. You don't need to be.
Thank you again. I said this is very important for me and for my nation, for all free Armenians who have free mind and free soul, and for all the free world, that one nation which is captive must be returned back to the family of free world nations. We are spiritually with that part of the world. We are not in the part of fascism. We are not with Northern Korea. We are not with Russia. We are not with Pakistan. We are not Taliban Afghanistan. We are not with Islamic Republic of mullahs, with these medieval guys who led Iran to the war. I don't know what. We are not with them. With fascist government of Syria at this moment. And what is curious for me, Armenian troops are now in Syria with Russians allying Turkey against America. I can't accept that, and I say they are traitors. These Armenian government, so-called Armenian government, they are enemies of Armenian nations. How can Armenia be against America and Western countries with Russia and with Turkey? Two genocide-making fascist countries and Armenia, because Armenia is nothing. Armenia is a captive. We give our army, we can give our lives. They can tomorrow say that, hey, guys, mobilize Armenian soldiers and officers and send them to Ukraine, like Chechnya. Chechens are killed over there, or Buryatia, or Tatarstan, or other Dagestan. They are killing our. We are not ground fodder, we are not meat for this grinder of the war for Russia, but they can use that because they did it in Afghanistan when Armenian soldiers and officers unwillingly they have been mobilized for the Soviet army and sent to killed in Afghanistan for I don't know for what. The same in Hungary for 1956. Hungarian people want to go back to the freedom to Europe, and Soviet army went to Budapest and killed them on the tanks. And the commander of army was Armenian Marshal, Mr. Babajanian, Marshal, the chief marshal of armored troops of Soviet Union was Armenian. But I'm not proud for that because he was stupid. He was a party member. He didn't understand that it's not his fatherland. Soviet Union is not his country. But the same was Marshal Bagramian. He was the deputy minister of Soviet Union. Marshal, he was responsible for the Soviet intelligence. He was Armenian. But what from this, his own village were born two Armenian marshals, Babajanian and Bagramian, was under Turkish or Azerbaijani yoke with the help of Russia. And they couldn't say anything about this, but they made great things for the victory of Russian army against Germany in 1941, 1945. And Babajanian and Bagramian were good guys for Stalin. And so Armenian Marshal, Chief Air Marshal of Soviet Air Force, who defended Russian capital Moscow against Germans, was Armenian. That was Armenian Kamperians. His name in brackets was Sergei Khudyakov, because he tried not to be Armenian, not to be killed by Soviet NKVD and Mr. Marshal Beria by the order of Stalin. Eventually, they did it. He killed him. And his own village in Karabakh was under the yoke of Turks, Azeris. But he couldn't do anything, but he was a good fighter for Soviet Russian. For what? The same. The chief of Soviet fleet, chief of general staff, actually, he was the leader of all Soviet Navy operations in the World War, 1941, 1945, that was Hovannes Isakov or Ivan Isakov. You can read about him. He was also from Armenia, and his land was under Russian yoke, but he was fighting for, I don't know for what, for communism, for Soviet Union, for World War Revolution. This is crazy. This is why I said Russia is completely different thing. It's zombieing the people, it's brainwashing the people. It's different thing. You understand? And 600,000 of Armenians have been mobilized to Soviet army. In comparison with our population, that was like every third Armenian man, not men. Every third Armenian, not men, men and women. Every third Armenian went to fight for Russians against Germany in 1941, 1945, and half of them were killed. Half of them were killed. That was another genocide. You know about that? No. Because Soviet archives are closed, not America's. Soviet archives. Americans know this, and they give us this information. We can find it, small, drop by drop, but we have it up. And you know about the genocide, like earthquake in Armenia in 98 December. That was a seismic weapon against Armenia. Why? They killed our 250,000 Armenians because Armenia said, we want to be unified with our brothers in Artsakh or Nagorno-Karabakh, and that unification movement became kind of anti-Soviet revolution for independence of Armenia. And Russia decided to kill Armenians, to press them. And you know, before Ukraine, Armenia became independent. Even before Lithuania and Latvia, because Armenia was the leader of Soviet anti-Soviet movement in the Soviet Russia in 1980s, the last years, 1918, 1988, 1989, and this is why they made this earthquake. And even it is not artificial earthquake, except that it's a natural one. Okay, but Soviet government did everything to destroy Armenians completely. Their evacuation forces, their so-called civilian defense, all the services who must work over there for emergencies doesn't work. Nothing, didn't work. And a lot of people, they tried to keep them under the ruins a lot of time. And that was winter, December. And a lot of people have been killed. A lot of Armenian babies, a lot of Armenian children have been, like now from Ukraine, under the screen of the war, they took Armenian babies to Russia, Armenian children, orphans, so-called orphans. They made them orphans. And we lost a lot of Armenian people at that time, like 250,000 killed. Another 500,000 people maybe wounded, and altogether 1 million people homeless in Armenia. All northern part of Armenia, you see, New Zealand is two islands, yes, northern island, southern island. One island is gone. Imagine. And we had the same population as you, like 3,700,000. Now you are maybe more, I don't know. But at that time, 1 million Armenians gone. And our economy was destroyed. And Soviet Union or Russia made a war against Armenia by the hand of Azerbaijan. They gave them millions of trains, echelons of weapon, ammunition, everything, and they are shelling Armenia city. During this, that was a genocide. And after that, with the help of Western countries, with the spirit of Armenian fighting people, because we are good soldiers, we are a peaceful nation, but we are good soldiers. 1,000 Armenians could throw away like 3,000 or 5,000 Turks or Azeris. They know when they know that we have weapons, they don't come. Turks are cowards. It's not my words. It's Henry Morgenthal's words. You can read over there. They are bullies.
Remember, we are using one word, one person's words.
When they see the armed people, they are not brave. But when they say when they see unarmed people, peaceful guys, girls, women, old men, they are very brave. This is why what is going now, 44 days special operation in Armenia. Special operation, KGB like special operations, not wars. 2020, autumn, September 27, they started. And in November 9, they finished it, 44 days, and they gave Armenian lands to Turkey under the screen of this so-called operation. And Mr. Shoigu, the defense minister of Russia, the next year, he witnessed that we conducted very brilliant, good joint operation with Turks in Artsakh. He said Karabakh. I say Artsakh because this is the Armenian name, right name. He said in Karabakh. Oh, what special operation, Mr. Shoigu? With Turkey? Against whom?
Mm-hmm.
Because they honored Armenia. Because they stopped our air defense systems. Didn't work. You understand what's going? And in every unit, every regiment, every battalion, every brigade, every division, every corps, they had their Russian agents. There are, like in Soviet Union, in every unit there is an Osoby Odzel, which means special section. Not section, but a branch. It's in the headquarters of the regiment, for instance. And there is a KGB agent. He means counter-intelligence officer. He can be major, lieutenant colonel, or colonel. And he is directly subordinate to KGB of so-called Armenia. But there is no Armenian KGB. There is no Georgian KGB. There is no Ukrainian KGB. There is only one KGB. That's our Russian KGB. So they receive any information about our regiments and brigades, everything, starting from workers of this civilian workers of the regiment until the drivers and adjutants and helpers and aides of regimental commander. They know everything about this. They have the access to any secret rooms and maps and radio stations. By the way, communication system of Armenia by the former president of Armenia was signed and surrendered to Russia. It became a unified Armenian-Russian communication system. It means Armenia have not nerve system in its army organisms. You understand what they did? Azerbaijan and Turkey, 90 million, 10 million. Together 100 million. Armenia is only 2 million now. That was 4 million, became 2 million. It's also Russian policy. You understand what? It's a genocide. And I'm now here. A lot of Armenians here because of this policy. And these 100 million Turks against 2 million Armenians, and they couldn't take Armenia. Only the Russian help. They disarmed our army. They betrayed us. They took our air defense system. They took our secrets, gave them our maps. They gave Armenian passports to Turkish divers and spies to come inside the Armenian front line, infiltrate. They did everything. And even they killed our generals who very few of them could go against Putin, because in Armenia, I'm colonel, I can become general only with the permission of Putin. You understand me? All Armenian high diplomats, high military started from general, even sometimes colonels, sometimes. All KGB staff, 100%. All the so-called KGB staff, they say Armenian national security, but it's KGB. And from 18 years old, these guys studying in Russia, they become Russian agents and come to serve Armenia? No, of course. All the Armenian intelligence service, all the Armenian diplomats, all the Armenian administrators of provinces, all the Armenian mayors, all the Armenian everything, all the positions and all the government, starting from prime minister and president, everybody is a Russian agent. How can you fight against Turkey and Azerbaijan, my nation, very brave Armenian nation, with good spirit of warrior, when your so-called ally betraying you and already sold you by treaty to Turkey and Azerbaijan, secret treaty. I said about 1921, that was Moscow treaty between Russia and Turkey, two unrecognized evil terroristic organizations, Kemalists and Bolsheviks. Later they became Republic of Turkey and Soviet Socialist Republic of Russia, then Soviet Union 2 years later. Okay? And these guys divided my country, which was a legal member of international community, which was a member of League of Nations. They destroyed Armenia. And Western countries couldn't do anything or can't, I don't know why. What happened?
You said a few times could not do anything. And
maybe 20.
I personally disagree. Could means that you have no ability to do anything. And that, I believe, is not really true, is it? They did not interfere. They could have interfered. The knowledge was there, but people didn't want to believe. Or, going back to 1915, Morgenthau basically sent those informations back to the American president, and the information was there. Did something occur? No. You could make the same argument with regards to the concentration camps in Germany. The knowledge was there. Either people did not want to believe it, or those who believed it did not actually did not take the action that could have been possible. So I think this is it's too easy to say could not. I think that is more complex.
Yeah, Stephen, you know what? Like as I am a historian, I'm a colonel, I'm a historian, and a lot of other things I do. I am a professor of political science, etc., etc. But I can say you that, like an historian and professor of political science, that Armenians didn't their part well. For example, Estonians in 1919, 1920, there was like 1 million of population in Estonia. That's a small country, you know. That's that. But Estonians threw away the Russian forces until to St. Petersburg, which is far from the Estonian border, relatively. And they even went to Latvia and twice liberate Latvia from Russians, then from German feudals, let's say, because they have been Germans have been landlords in Latvia. They made a government second time, and 2 times Riga, the capital of Latvia, was liberated by Estonian small but very brave army. We had 40,000 strength Armenian army, which was very good and could defeat Turkey, but it couldn't defeat Turkish army, 50,000 from west, and Russian army, 50,000 from the east. Altogether, it is 100. And you have also Turks inside Armenia and Bolshevik agents inside Armenia. Also, so-called Azerbaijani Turks, like 20,000 from the east. So altogether, it is 1,001, maybe 1,050. But Armenia could maybe defeat all of them if the Armenian people had this knowledge that I say now about Estonians, and about that, if you will not defeat them now, then you're gonna be under genocide during 100 years. During 100 years of slavery, they didn't understand this. They couldn't be strong enough not to wait the aid of Western country, because Ukrainians didn't wait. They fight for their lives, for their country, for their freedom. Armenians didn't that in 1920. Some of them did, because one of the provinces of Armenia fought until 1921 July, and they couldn't take it. All Red Army, or the best brigades and divisions couldn't take. And Garegin was a prominent general there. He was a lieutenant colonel, then he became the general commander of this province. But he defeated with only few of his companies, like one regiment. He stayed against all these brigades of Reds and Ottomans, Turks and Azeris and Russians all together. He could do that. But that was like 6 months, and British sent them a lot of weapons, money to do that. But that was already late, because only one promise. The other promises have been destroyed and occupied. But if the Armenians stood all together, they, by the way, stood and raised up and made a revolution against Russians in the February of 1921. That was the first anti-Soviet revolution in the Soviet Russia in the history. Armenians did that in 1921 February, and took the defense until like 52 days. Armenia was again a free country against Russia. But they said, if you will not surrender, we allow Turks to come across the border, and together we will kill you. So they understand that again, the same like Putin and Erdogan doing now. They took Armenia again. Armenians didn't do their part all, and after that they received what? They received punishment. 50,000 Armenians have been killed. 50,000 from 800,000 have been killed, and that was like 1,600 Armenian officers and generals, the heroes of 2 anti-Turkish wars, the heroes of First World War, the heroes who saved Baku oil for Antanta. You know what? Russia surrendered against Germany in 1918, Brest-Litovsk Treaty. Russia surrendered. Only 1 week, Red Army, this glorious Red Army, which celebrated its birthday in 23rd of February. That was defeated on 21st of February by Germans. Only 1 week, and the head of German headquarters, he was also the deputy of Marshal Hindenburg, Feldmarschall Hindenburg. Feldmarschall Ludendorff told, in the East, we fight only against Armenians. Only Armenians are fighting. But that was very interesting. Why? Because Armenians didn't want one more and final genocide. This is first. And the second, 9 months, Armenian army stopped the advance of Central Powers. It means Turkey, German, Austro-Hungary, and Bulgaria. So, and Turks, in 1918, they started advance in Erzurum or Erzincan. It's Erzincan, now the headquarters of Third Army, Turkish Army. Now, I have been in that headquarters, by the way, for inspection. They have been very, very, they show European Polish, but they were Turks. I know what does it mean. And from this town until Baku is 1,000 kilometers, but they advanced in 9 months because Armenian army, that was an army corps with 3 divisions. It stopped them. Then it defeated them in 2 Armenian central towns near our capital, Sardarabad and Bashaparan and Harakilisa. And the allied Turkish divisions who have been victorious against British and French, and sorry, but against New Zealanders and Australians, have been defeated and killed near Armenian capital in Sardarabad and Bashaparan and Harakilisa. And Turkey stopped. And in June 4, 1918, in city of Batumi, which is a port on Black Sea, you know, the first country in the world recognized Armenia as an independent country. That was Turkey. Ottoman Turkey recognized us as an independent country. After that, they asked us to go to Baku around the Armenia. But we couldn't stop them. Even they didn't ask us because they were Georgia, and Georgia became the ally of Germany and Turkey. You see, this is why they didn't become the member of League of Nations. Armenia became, they not. And Azerbaijan was inviting Turks and hitting us from the behind. They striking us. So we have been surrounded. No aid at that moment. And Turks come to Baku. And Baku Armenians, they have 10,000 of soldiers and officers under the General Bagratuni, who was the headquarters chief of headquarters, and 3 Armenian colonels and a lot of Armenian officers. And they stopped them until September 14, and only September 14 Turks could take Baku, which was very important for Germany, because German armies were near Paris in France, but Germany was capitulated. Why? Because German army, German Air Force, and German Navy need oil, and this oil will come from Baku. But Turks couldn't take on time this city because Armenian army was fighting in Yerevan and in Baku. 9 months Armenians stopped. And this is why Germany surrendered. We can say that one of the victories nations are Armenians because we stopped them. We didn't give them. And Turks, even one bucket of oil couldn't send to Germans on time. And Germany surrendered, even having its forces near Paris, on the land of France and Belgium and Netherlands, etc., etc. So this is why Western countries like this position of Armenia. But in 1920, 2 years later, Armenia didn't the same now. Couldn't, maybe after genocide, that was very, very big tiredness for Armenia, because maybe Bolshevik agents did their black war inside the Armenia against our army. This is why we couldn't do our part. And we have been surrounded with this Turkey and Russia, west and east, and Azerbaijan from west, east again, and agents inside. We couldn't do nothing more. I say you, if it will be like Estonians, maybe Western countries could help us, maybe, because we must give them time, like Ukraine is giving now time to Americans, and now they have command in Ukraine. They appointed a general in Ukraine. They sent more weapons, and now we'll send weapons by sea, because air is not the way to send a lot of ammunition and a lot of weapons. But you are coming on the sea, you will bring a lot of armored troops, anything you need. The same was, maybe, I'm making this parallel, historical parallels with Ukraine and 100 years ago, Armenia. And you can see that we have been nation just after the genocide and inside the genocide, and the last part of genocide waiting for us. And we couldn't fight all these geopolitical powers all together. And you said that Western countries could have, but they didn't. I don't know. This is why we are speaking. They will find, are they guilty in that or no? I don't want to blame anybody, only us, because any nation who is seeking his savior outside, it's a slave nation. If you are a free nation, you must work yourself, fight for yourself, and save yourself. But if you will fight like Ukrainians, like Estonians in 1920, you will find your allies, because only fighting nations can have allies, can have friends. The nations who are like beggars, political beggars, or invalid or disabled, they will not receive statehood, they will not receive recognition, they will not receive independence, they will not receive respect, but they will receive wheelchair to sit on it and go to nursing home. You are valid nation, you must fight. You must fight like Ukrainians, like Estonians, and Armenians in 1918, not Armenians in 1920. These 2 years psychological shift in Armenian psychology is very interesting, but I can explain it, but I don't want to explain it, because no explanation for loss of freedom, no explanation to become slaves of Russia and Turkey, no explanation to lose your statehood because you fear for your life. Better to live like a free man, or die like a free man, than to live under the yoke of any other nation as a slave. This is my principle. This was the principle of those Armenians who fight in 1918. And unfortunately, we must give this psychology to the next generations. But our generation was betrayed, and 7,500 young Armenian soldiers and officers, a lot of them my officers, who I taught during my 25 years service to my army, to my country, to my motherland, to my fatherland, Armenia. The last 8 years, I taught a lot of Armenian officers, like 3,000 of Armenian officers, lieutenants, captains, majors, lieutenants, even colonels. They were patriotic guys. They were honest guys. They were brave guys. They are real officers, a lot of them. But they have been betrayed by Russians. This is why I hate Russia. That I hate this covered and KGB evil country which destroyed the flower of my nation, the elite officers and soldiers of my nation. 7,500 young officers and soldiers for Armenia. This is lot. This is lot, Stephen, because our nation is not a big one, and that was like Russians didn't give us to defend our country. They betrayed us. A lot of our equipment and tanks and armored fighting vehicles, even untouched, passed to the enemy because they made this betrayal. They made this. They are traitors, I said you. And these regiments, all regiments and battalions have been under the fire of Turkish artillery and Turkish Air Force, Azerbaijani, but they are the same because Turkish commander of army was the general commander of Azerbaijani and Turkish joint forces, and they killed us. And a lot of parents in Armenia, in capital Yerevan and provinces, 10 provinces of Armenia, they didn't receive even the remains of their sons because the bones and the bodies and the meat, everything was mixed with the land, and there was no bones, there was no remains, there was like bloody land, dirt, nothing else, red dirt. This was remained from the guys, from all the companies, 100 or more people, all the battalions of like 500 and more people, all the regiments of 2,000 and 3,000 guys have been mixed with the dirt. You understand? I can't respect Mr. Putin and his nation because they are betrayers, they are traitors. They couldn't do the same against Armenian nation for their dirty geopolitical games with Turkey. I understand Turks because they fear of their nation because they have bought a lot of skeletons in their shells. They want to kill Armenia, the last final page. And nobody will ask them, nobody will go to Haga court, nobody will speak to Stephen and to other guys to say this truth. No Armenian nation, 0 men, 0 problem. This is a Turkish policy. They will not say, guys, forgive us. We'll give your lands. We want your respect. Sorry about that. No, they will not because they are cowards. Only brave nation can say, that was my mistake. Sorry, brother, I did very bad thing to you. They didn't do that because their elite is brought up on our money. On Turkish resident is an Armenian huge palace. They took all the houses and palaces of Armenians. They live there. Their offices are there. The same in Azerbaijan. Their country growth on the Armenian bones and blood. I say you again, I have been in Erzurum, which is Armenian Karin, the capital city of our province, High Armenia. It's a province starting from 3rd century or 1st century before the Christ. I have been in that city. Lot of Armenian architecture, lot of Armenian buildings, Armenian fountains, But Armenian letters have been deleted, destroyed. Armenian churches, but without Armenian letters, Armenian crosses are taken out. And they made, these churches, they made mosques. I have been in Erzurum or Karin Fortress. I saw the Armenian walls, Armenian architecture, Armenian canons. Nothing was Armenian. Everything was sealed by Turkish seal. And even on the mountains, they write, "You must be proud that you are Turk." And Turkish crescent is on all the lands of all our mountains. They can't say, "I beg your pardon, Armenian people." They can't. It's impossible. They will lose their country because it's not their country. They must go to Altai. Of course, we will not send them to Altai, but they fear that we will send because they don't understand. We are another nation. We are not Turks. We will not do the same to them. But they don't believe that because every person can see against him only the reflection of himself. He doesn't believe that Stephen is a good guy. He will not punish me. He will forgive me. He's a Christian guy. He's Christian from 301 up to date. First Christian country, as you said. And the second was Ethiopia in Africa, 308. And the third was Roman Empire, 312. These are the Christian countries. They must forgive. But Turks can't understand that. It's an Islam country, but you know what? It's even not Islam country. Turks are not religious. I have seen a lot of Turkish officers. They are drinking vodka. They are eating pork. They are eating pork. But Muslim can't drink alcohol and eat pork. You know that, huh? But for them, that it's not a rule. They are not religious. Turks are not even Muslim religion keepers in sense of religion keepers, like Arabs or Persians even. Persians are fanatic Muslims, some of them. Arabs also, some of them. But Turks are very, how can I say? They are very, very practical. If they want to take religion, they will take. It will be Jewish religion or Islam religion, Christian. If it is profitable for them, they will take. Or, you know, Arab letters are the holy letters for Islam countries. Quran is in Arabic. And you must read and write in Arabic. That was until 1932. But Turks took the European Latin alphabet because it is profitable. But it is against the Quran, against the religion. They don't care, brother. They don't care because they are not even Islams. They are really Turks. They are fascists, racists. This is bad, but this is the reality. We must accept it. We must understand. This is very practical people. They don't have this, emotions, sensibility, nothing. They are cold-blood killers if they need, cold-blood so-called friends if they need, and enemies if they need. Never we can believe the Turks. Morgenthau understood them well, and I was shocked when read again and again his book, how cleverly he could understand the inner world of these Turkish pashas and Turkish people all together. And sometimes it's a documental book, but sometimes it's a very nice fiction novel. You know, it's a novel. you read it like a tale, but this tale is reality. And I start to understand the things that I couldn't understand before the reading of this book, because I read many things about genocide, many documents, even the Ottoman court documents, how they gonna punish their pashas who made these atrocities, but they didn't, of course. And Armenian revengers did this after all, you know. Anyway, I want to say that We must speak. We must bring the truth. We must understand each other. Of course, try to find resilience or reconciliation with Turks, with Azeris, with everybody, with Russians maybe. But you know, there are some people who are not honest in their wishes of peaceful and good coexistence. Armenians, yes. Georgians, yes. But Turks and Azeris, this is a special thing of ethnicity. I can't understand them because they are not, how can I say, they are not pure nation. They are kind of incomers from the other nations who became Turks. Because when Turks came to Asia Minor and Armenia, the first time their tribes were like 400 or 4,000 yurts. This is a tent, and under that one family. 4,000 is not big nation. But step by step they become, and now they are 80 or 90 million nation. How they became? Because they played on the separatism of the nations, and our kingdoms have been divided on many parts and principalities. The same for Byzantine, same for Georgia, for the European countries. You know that Germany have 365 principalities. Prussia, Bavaria, Austria, you know, Baden, Württemberg, etc. A lot of them. And the same was Armenia, the same was Byzantine. And they have starting to conquer one, a small one, then the next one. And they say, if you will accept Islam, then we will give all the property of your tribe or your clan to you. And the worst guy who is betrayal or traitor, he became the first with the help of Turks, and they received everything. And these traitors became the part of Turkish nation, a new nation. They were not real Turks, but became Turks. He is more Turk, more Catholic than the Pope. He's more Turk than the real Turks. And this is why this nation is so fanatic. So fanatic. You know that Enver and Talat and Jamal, really they have not been like pure Turks. They have kind of mix of Albanians and Jewish and Greeks and Bulgarians, and some of sultans have been 50% of Armenians, because their mummies or their mothers were Armenians, Armenian girls. They took them to their harems without asking the parents. You know, that was a slavery country. And unfortunately, it remains a slavery country. The name is Turkish Republic. It's a democratic country. It's a part of NATO. It wants to become a part of European Union. But in fact, it's a slavery country, my friend. This is the big problem.
You're talking a lot of truths. You're talking a lot of very controversial things, but it is if you were to dig behind each and every bit of information that you have told us, then you would be able to justify all the statements that you have made. So it is hard. It is really, really hard. I mean, how the hell can we continue to try to work together? I mean, is there still hope?
What is your vision? I think yes, hope. There is hope, yes, of course. But what is your vision? Because maybe you can show very sudden, good resolution of something. Maybe you have that, or you can propose that. We will try to do that. We tried. By the way, we tried. They sent their ambassadors to Armenia. I have been, you know, I have been in like 20 countries of the world, and all the countries of the permanent security members of United Nations. I mean, Russia, USA, France, Britain. Yeah, I have been that countries, and also other countries like Austria, Germany, China. Okay, Western Armenia. I said Western Armenia, but in fact it's Turkey. Also Turkey itself in Constantinople, Greece, etc., etc., etc. And I meet a lot of nationalities. I met also with Turks. I was not, I have no hatred to them. They feel that. They feel that. They even trying to cooperate with me and me also. And in some cases, I try to help them. I never said I'm a traitor of my nation because I help some Turk or Azerbaijani to do something. Because kind of like if they are, human beings, you must help them. But to the individuals, we are very good. I don't know how can be to their nations. This is the question. Because the individual is the one thing, but when they are in the collective, in the unified ethnical unit, which is called nation or state, this is completely different. They are working other psychological and social laws, maybe, I don't know. And some of them, they were high diplomats. I met them in Switzerland during the North Atlantic conference, one of the conferences of North Atlantic Treaty in Switzerland. I don't know why in Switzerland, because Switzerland is not a member of NATO or even Euro Union, but they invited this conference to come to them. And when they discussed some questions, there are a lot of people sitting in the big room with the big chairs, and there were defense ministry representative, me, and foreign ministry representative besides me. He was not good in English. My English is not very good also, but he was not speaking good. This is why he asked me if something, please defend our country. I said, of course. You don't speak about this, of course. And when so the American ambassador was a lady, and he was just against me. Armenia was the first by alphabet, and the United States was the last one in these countries, and Turkey was over there, and Azerbaijan was near me. And they say something about now Armenian aggression, taking their country, 20% of territory. How could it be 20%? Because I know that 12,000 square kilometers in 87,000, never it can become 20%. But okay, not the question is not the mathematics, etc. They blamed us in something. I said, guys, okay, can I speak also? The Secretary General, the Deputy Secretary of NATO, okay, I don't remember now who was that. He said, okay, now Armenia. I said, look, that country was gifted to Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republic by Stalin, by Kremlin, by Soviet Russia. And against the will of Armenia, they did this. How you said that this is your country, that 95% of population was Armenians, and now it became 75,000. And if that country couldn't unify with Armenia, you will leave zero, like in Nakhichevan, autonomous republic, which is autonomous republic, but why it's autonomous? Why its name is Armenian and no Armenian inside? How do you understand this? You are making genocide against the nations, and you say, we are aggressive. We are not aggressive. They liberated themselves, and now Armenia protected them from you because you are 9 million and they are 160,000. And Armenia is 2 million, and we are trying to help our brothers don't to be like Israel, like Israel. Armenia is Israel in Caucasus. So Azerbaijani shut up, couldn't answer anything. And in the break, the Turk from Ottoman Turkey, he came to me. He said, "Oh, this is Turkish diplomacy, will try to make some resilience with Armenians. I think one day even the monument of genocide will be in Istanbul and other Turkish cities. We are trying to be good friends and neighbors with Armenian. I understand that was a diplomacy, but I said, okay, why not? We can be good neighbors, etc. But let us keep the international laws and accept the historical facts that and don't deny that. And he was afraid that the next time he will speak, I will shut up him like an Azerbaijani guy was shut up by me about these facts of history. And this is why he tried to please me, don't to go against Turkey. But I didn't intend to do that. And even against Azerbaijani when they didn't do this bad move against Armenia, because our nation is peaceful. We didn't occupy any land in our neighborhood. We just have our brothers who have been in the trouble, and we went to save them. That's it. And everybody knows that 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, that land was Armenian, and was Armenian until now. You can dig any meter or square feet of this land, and you will find one Armenian cross stone, or Armenian church, or Armenian tomb, something else which is connected to Armenian culture. It's Armenian land all the way, all the time, always. And everybody knows that Turks came to these lands and occupied them. And now they are speaking like they are landlords, we are the slaves. And they say, very, very offending that they say, and this is official propaganda of Ankara and Baku, Turkey and Azerbaijan. They say Armenians are immigrant nation like gypsies. They came from India. And Russia used them for their geopolitical games. They brought them from Iran, put in Karabakh and Ararat Valley, and this way they made this Armenia, which was Western Azerbaijan, not Armenia. I said, guys, our capital city is the oldest one in the territory of Soviet Union. It was founded by the Argishti king, one of the first kings of Armenia, in 782 before the Christ, and altogether is like 3,000 years old city, and even is older, on 25 years older than Rome itself. How you said these things? Why you are lying? Why? They are falsifying everything. They brainwash their own nation. They are trying now brainwash the Europeans, the other guys, and even our Armenian nation, because our schools are destroyed, our education system destroyed by Russia, our TVs, our radio stations, Armenian radio stations became the part of Russian propaganda. And this is why, and our scientific institutions, our Academy of Science is the attachment of Russian KGB. They don't work for Armenia. Science doesn't work for Armenia. Historians doesn't work for Armenia. Army can't work for Armenia, serve to Armenia, and government doesn't work for Armenia. Armenia is disarmed in all the senses, in defense protection, in science protection, propaganda protection, social services. Nation is, near the genocide. They are going to close the last page of my nation. This is very bad. Not only that I am Armenian, I'm speaking for any nation. I was, Lord George Gordon Byron was one of the greatest British or English poets. He put his life for Greece, to liberate Greece in the beginning of the 19th century. But before that, he became one of the Armenian greatest educational centers in Europe, in Italy. That was in Venice, island of St. Lazzaro. And there was a big Armenian educational school, very, very high level status. And he studied ancient Armenian language. We say classical Armenian in Armenian, Grabar. this language, he was astonished. This is a language of God. Oh my God. This is the root of all European languages. He was right, kind of. And he read about our history, about culture, and he was crazy. This is a great nation, but he has such a destiny because this nation is enslaved by the foreign conquerors for the centuries and centuries. And this is bringing degradation to our nation. And we lost our aristocracy, lost most of them. Our traders, our craftsmen, our even peasantry, kind of Armenia, with the help of Russian, this bad policy became kind of lumpen country. Lumpen country, enslaved by KGB, enslaved by Russian propaganda. And this is why the destiny of Armenia is not brilliant. If we can't understand these truths, my friend, if we can't bring this truth to our nation, to upbring our new generations, to rise up the spirit of nation again. Otherwise, Armenia, there are 200 nations and 139 of them are members of United Nations organization. 200 nations who have statehood, and Armenia is in this first league of nations. There are 4,000 nations, but a lot of them, they have not statehood, and they even don't want to have, maybe, I don't know. For instance, Kurds, there are 25 million, but they have not statehood at this moment, except of northern Kurdistan, which is autonomous in the Iraq, with the help of Americans. You see, Americans trying to make even these nations to be free. This is very good. You look, Turks and Russians made independent countries slaves, and America is trying to make these unstatehood countries become state, like Israel, like Lebanon, like the Kurdistan, maybe other countries also. This is the big difference, geopolitical difference. This is why we go to the Western values. We are going to the European and Western Christian civilization. This is clash of civilizations, and Armenia, one of the big victims of this clashes, and it's requiring from our nation very big bravery, very big strength, very big spirit, and very big knowledge, and organization, self-organization, self-coordination to stand on their feet. Because Russians, together with Turks, they decided already to left us without statehood. They are trying to make, with the hand of these KGB agents sitting in Yerevan government house, made Armenian statehood kind of ridiculous. Armenian government can make decisions and orders only about the salt in the restaurants, not about the policy of Wilsonian Armenia, borders, genocide, reconciliation, the Armenian provinces which are occupied, or even about the education of Armenian people, even about the links with diaspora Armenians to keep them Armenians, even something about the Western countries to help them to make our country less corruption, more economically good and kind of strong. Nothing you can do. It's not allowed. You are a colonial administration under the name of the government of Republic of Armenia. This is why in the diaspora I am troubled, and I'm trying to organize these diaspora bosses. A lot of them are also under Russian control, under KGB control, and our political parties who are operating like 100 years and more now, everything Armenian can keep Armenia Armenian and Armenian people Armenian is destroyed by Russia. If the Turks will come to Armenian Revolutionary Federation and say, hey, go, you will surrender Armenia, they will say, go, we will be fight against you. But when the Russians comes, say, we are your friends, we are your, but we must do this, that. And they even could do like that Armenian diaspora in all over the world became kind of network for KGB. This is sad. This is anti-Armenian. This is national suicide. But they don't understand this. This lot of editors of newspapers, this TV program hosts, and they don't understand. They are working for Russia. You will never listen these things from Armenian TVs of Los Angeles or Melbourne or Sydney or London or France or Germany or nothing. Not speaking about Armenia. Yerevan television is under direct control of KGB. You see what's going? This is the genocide, my friend. This is the genocide. Because genocide is not only the systematic destruction of a national body, but also national identity. You understand my situation and how I am appreciating to you and are thankful to guys like you, which taking this truth, making weight for them, and a lot of 56,000 of my friends in LinkedIn and other networks, I'm trying through them go with this truth. When I started 7 years ago to do this, because before that I was an officer of army, I couldn't do that. After retirement, I could do, because Armenian officer can't be in the politics. Can't be. After that, I left army. I understand that I must left Armenia, my lovely country, because it means if I not left, I will lost my family, me, a lot of my friends, and something else I couldn't. So now I have in the free world the possibility to give this truth, drop by truth, to my nation, to my friends of every nation. Because 7 years ago, when I say something like this, they will say, hey, are you crazy? Russians are your friends. What are you saying? And now they understand me. Especially this 44 days special operation, joint operation of Turkey and Russia in Artsakh, and especially after Ukraine. Because, that was a trap. Russians, like a fox, they felt in the trap of Armenian 44-day operation with Turks, and now they felt in the trap of Ukraine war, and Russia, they lost their blood. Day by day, the warriors are killed. The Russian army is reducing and reducing. They can order to make it 2 million, but they are not people who will die for Putin. They don't want to die in Ukraine for KGB regime. They don't want. Now they dried the blood in Buryatia, in Chechnya, in Dagestan, maybe in Tatarstan. Now they are starting to mobilize the central capital cities, Moscow, and northern capital, St. Petersburg. But this is very dangerous. Putin a little bit knows the history. When Tsar 100 years ago or 105 years ago mobilized these capital cities, they turned their bayonets against Tsar. They throw them from the throne. It's very dangerous. Yes, you need more warriors, more meat to send to be granted in Ukrainian war, but you don't know what can happen. America knows this well, Great Britain also, and I hope that other European nations, but Poland knows better, and Baltic countries, that what is going now, and they are ready. 1 million Ukrainian army is prepared to invade Russia. 1 million. It's lot of army. 1 million Ukrainian warriors. You know what is it? Russia has only 30,000 soldiers and officers in Ukraine, and you can keep them with your 130,000. But Ukrainians keep northern border with Belarus, northeastern border with Russia, the front with Russia, eastern south border and southeastern front. And this is a very big front line, which is like 1,400 or 500, which is from Moscow to Haga. And Mr. Putin will come to this road from Moscow to Haga, Nuremberg, like Nazi chefs, yes, because he's grandchild of Stalin. Not with blood, but his spirit is grandchild of Stalin. And Stalin was the biggest monster in the... Even Genghis Khan is not so evil that Stalin is. I know that because a lot of intelligentsia, not only 600,000 Armenian soldiers have been killed, and officers and generals, all 3,000 of them have been killed. The other 3,000 came back to Armenia. They have been wounded. They have psychologically, you know, that 4 years war with Germany. This is not a very big pleasure. My grandfather, he died in 82 years. He was very, very healthy guy, but he has small, metallic things inside his body because they couldn't take it out. Chirurgs, some bullets and part of
shrapnel.
Yeah, he was a very healthy guy. He could live after 4 years of World War, and after this he could make his family prosper and good, and a lot of grandchildren and but this was a genocide for Armenia. You will go every city and every town and every village, you will see half of the population is eliminated. This is genocide. You speak about genocide. Hey, Russians, why you did this genocide against Armenia? Why you mobilized? That was not war against Armenia. Germans fight against Russia, but you took Armenians and killed them. Huh? What is this? This is genocide. The same is now going in Ukraine. When they take Buryat guys, Buryat males now, I think, eliminated. 90% of them gone. The people who can take the weapon, they are gone. That's it. And now they started another autonomous republic. They are trying to make this. This is the fascism. This is the genocide. That with one bullet you kill 2 targets. One is Ukraine, and the second one is your minorities. You kill them. You Russify the country. Isn't this racist? Isn't this genocide? Isn't this fascism? Is one of them, yes.
Wow.
And so on. Yeah, we can.
Wow, Mnatsakan. I mean, this is such an in-depth view. And when I set out to do this interview, I thought about 1915 and wanted to expand that into the 1800s. In reality, I was naive to think that all stopped in 1923. In fact, you have outlined those repeated times when indeed active attempts were made to further reduce the Armenian population. And you could quite rightly say that this is a genocide in installments that has been happening up until now. And this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I was not aware of that. And for that, I'm very grateful to you that you actually maybe pulled the blinkers off me and gave me that insight, because I didn't understand, especially the modern history. I understood kind of the history in the past, but it is a big eye-opener what you have done here. I'm very, very grateful for you. And I mean, people will be interested to see where else can they find information of that. Tell me about your television channel. Tell me about your current endeavors. You're out there trying to raise awareness. Tell us, where can people find you?
Sir, look, I'll give you my TV channel links, etc. I have 6 channels in YouTube, but I would like to ask you some questions. First, is that possible to, of course you are the host, but I could ask you, maybe you to put some title on this interview, like continuous genocide. Kind of that, because 1915 is going until now.
Correct.
If Turkey and Russia didn't stop this process, and their final goal is elimination of Armenia. I repeat,
yes,
elimination of Armenia, not reducing Armenian population, elimination of Armenia like a statehood and nation. That's it. If you will have not Armenian statehood, these diaspora guys, 12 million Armenians in the world, 2 million in Armenia, maybe less. The other 10 millions in all over the world, in Australia, New Zealand, maybe, I don't know, you know better what community you have over there. America, 3 million, 4 million in Russia, 2 million in Europe, 1 million in Africa, Asia. These guys, all these 10 million will gone. Because if you will lost, like Jews, Israel, they will degrade as a nation, they will assimilate, and they will become not Armenians, but New Zealanders, Americans, Hungarians, Poland. That was in our history, because we lost a lot. I said about 10, 11 centuries Armenia and England. The population was 5 million in Armenia, 2 million in England. Now England is 65 million in British Islands, and like 400 million and more in all over the world, Anglo-Saxons, right? Okay, this is English civilization. Even the New Zealander one is a part of British or England civilization. But where are the Armenians? They are Hungarians now. In Budapest and in Brussels, a lot of time I met Hungarian officers. They come to me, they hug me. One of them say, "My granny is Armenian. I love Armenia." But he couldn't speak. A lot of Polish, the aristocracy is proud. 30% of their blood is Armenian. They say that. The best Polish scientists, best generals and diplomats are Armenians. But they are not Armenians now. The same in maybe Ukraine, maybe in Russia. A lot of Armenian, for instance, you know Suvorov. Field Marshal Suvorov is the pride of the Russian military art. But he was an Armenian, and the Russian Federation doesn't admit that. This is Armenian. Hey, this is Armenian. His father was Armenian, and his mother was Armenian, and even his grandmoney is tomb in Moldavia, from where they came to Moldovan Principality. In Armenian, it's written that she is Shah Suvarian, not Suvorov, but Shah Suvarian. And they said, no, his family is coming from Sweden. Or for instance, Tarasovs, millionaires, multi-millionaires in Russia. These are Torosians. They become Tarasov. Or Ivazovsky, you know, a great artist, Ivazovsky, from Crimea, Crimean Armenian. And on his tomb, you can see in Armenian, Hovannes Ivazyan. But they say, this is Russian artist Ivazovsky. That's it. It's not Armenian. He's not Armenian. Millions of such Armenians we have in Russia. I want to say that if they could keep their identity, if they will be captive by the other nations, now Armenia could be 100 million or 200 million, 300 million. We are now not only Armenians. We are Georgians, we are Persians, we are Assyrians, we are Turks, we are Azeris. I have seen a lot of Turkish officers. I look on him, I said, is your granny Armenia? He couldn't answer. But he was Armenian. He's Turkish-speaking Armenian. And a lot of them. By the way, you know, I said about the alphabet in Turkey, and Kemal Atatürk very gladly accept this European alphabet. Who invented this alphabet for Turkey? An Armenian. You know that, yes? You know.
Good.
And who made the first dictionary for Turkish nation, for this new Turkish nation, Turkish language, Oghuz language? Armenian scientists. I know the names. But yes.
Mnatsakan, thank you.
They say architecture Sinan, Turkish architect. He was a Muslim as the Armenian, Sinan. And etc. All the Palyans, all the architecture, Istanbul. This is very sad.
You're an amazing man. You're an amazing man.
We must not lose our Armenian republic, our statehood. This is polar star for all Armenians in all over the planet. If we will lost, we all will become descendants of Armenians, but not Armenians. My grandchild now is speaking Armenian. He knows the flag of Armenia. She's very small, but he recognizes all of the 200 flags of the world, and I'm happy for that. But I don't know if all the Armenians can keep their grandsons, granddaughters like Armenians, because of course, I like America very much. I think the system is very good for my country, and in the future we will take it. I hope so. And the army system, everything is very good for Armenia. But I want that Armenians in America, Armenians in Australia, in New Zealand, in Britain, in France, Germany, everywhere, they could remain Armenians. And one day, when we restore our Armenia, when will Turks give us even a small Armenia with the lines or borders of Wilsonian award, arbitrary award by American president, by America, and by Sevres Treaty, which they deny, then Armenia will become a normal country, because if you will have good territory for life, your country's body is not enough to live, You can't have a big head and small body and small, So this is why our Western allies in 1920, when they gave up in 1919 and 1920 in Paris conference after First World War, they gave us all these decisions. They recognize Armenia like independent country. They give us diplomatic relations and status of League of Nations, and also sea ports, 3 of them, the Black Sea. And even they tried to give us back Silesia and small Armenia, which could make Armenia not 160,000 kilometers square, but like 300 and 400,000 like Ukraine. But we have not population at that time. We could even very difficultly to have inhabitants in that part that gave American president and Western countries to us. Not speak about the Mediterranean part of Armenia, But anyway, one day the Turks will be so kind, they will ask our pardon, they will give back our 5,000 years fatherland with all the sanctuary on it, with all the holy tombs of our great historians, geographers, mathematicians, 5th, 6th, 7th century, our great astronomic observatories on our land that they are keeping in the secret. All these archaeological cavities, they are showing the Armenian civilization from 10,000 and 12,000 years. And even just not me, but British archaeologists, German archaeologists, historians, they come to Armenia. Nowadays, Armenia, they found 8,000 years old first shoe in the world in Armenia. 7,000 years Armenian observatory in the world, first one. I don't know, like 8,500 years old winery, the first one in world. Not me. This is an old and very holy country, and I don't want that Turks destroy all this civilization because they hate us. They want to delete the footprints of Armenian nation, and this is why they falsifying the history, and they say this is not Armenia. That was Assyrian or Babylonian or something, Median, I don't know, Hittitian heritage. And even in the British Museum, I have been in British Museum in 1996 or 1997. There was written that this is Hellenistic goddess Anahida. But I said, hey guys, where you find it? And brought to Britain. they say from Satala. I said, Satala is in Armenian Minor, right? Smaller, lesser Armenia. They say, yes. I said, right, this is Armenian goddess Anahit, the only one. I am very thankful to British guys that you saved it from Turkish hands, brought it to London, but I doubt that this is Armenian. They say, okay. I went to the supervisor, asked this, and they did it. Thank you for that. But a lot of things are good because they are speaking about Palestine, Middle East, Assyria, Babylonia, hope, and go to the Hellenistic countries. There is no Armenia. I said, why? You are too, and then no Armenia. How can it happen? Because history falsification is destroying my identity. And if you want to prepare, because they give you money, I don't know, maybe praise you on other ways, but you can't go against the truth, against the God. Don't do that, guys. This is difficult things. I think that my question about if you can make this title that something like you decide, up to you, of course. Sorry about that. I'm asking, but I want to say that genocide is continuously and don't stop from 1915 now, because until Turkey didn't recognize, and Russia also didn't recognize, that they genocided the Armenian nation, massacred it, eliminated it, and tried to finish our existence, this genocide is not stopped. And it will stop in two ways: with the death of Armenian nation and civilization, or with the revival of Armenian nation and civilization. And this is why we need two resolutions. One can come from the bad will of Russia and Turkey to eliminate Armenia finally, and the second come from the good will of these countries. But I can't see this goodwill when I see that Ukrainian crops and wheats are stolen, and they make Russian KGB is making hunger in all over the world to press the countries to stop the war or something like that, or to make the defeat of Ukraine obvious. It's impossible. Americans understand that they stopped that game. But Turkey was playing, and now is playing with Russia. So if they do that against Ukraine, they brothers of blood. They say Ukrainians and Russians are the same nation. We are Russians. Kiev and Rus is other land. But Moscovian Rus, why you are killing them? What can I ask for my nation, which is not Rus, which is not Slavic? I am, of course, Indo-European Armenian. I am brother of Englishmen, of German and Russian and Persians and Greeks, but they don't accept that. They see us only landlord and slave. That's it. This approach can't bring the recognition of genocide. And the same is from the Turkish side. And there is also a third way. The third way is that Western countries, which are the flagman, let us say, a flagship of the civilization in this world, they will go further. They defeat this next fascist country, which is after the Germany is at this moment Russia. And after that, the hands of Russia on the throat of Armenia will come. And after that, the turn is for Turkey. Turkey will be destroyed because Turkey can't now lie to Americans and Europeans that, oh, I was on your side. Like in 1994, I said, yeah, Russian, German, he was exhibited between them. I want to say that they must also punished. This is the last chance for Erdogan and Turkey. If he will not resign, his party gone, and Turkey become a really democratic country. This is a fascist country. This fascist Turkey can't recognize Armenian genocide. But we will come to the power. Not in Russia. We have not there any healthy. You think Navalny can do something? No, because I said already, they selected Russians during the decade and made Gaza. You saw the grass. You are cutting it all the time, cutting. No no one herb can go higher than the others. This is grass. Russia became a grass. Russian people from the nation became a biological mass. It's not a nation, a political nation. And this Armenian nation turned to biological mass. And the bad thing is that the Turkey also is a biological mass. They will give them the truth. The 70% of non-Turk guys will require identity.
Mnatsakan, I need to stop you. I'm running so out of time. We have been talking 4 hours of beautiful history. Wow. What I would like to do is let me just wrap that up so that I've got a say again.
Can you make small parts of this interview, 1 part, 2 parts,
absolutely,
or 3 parts, too long?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I will.
Can you give me a possibility to take these, put in my channels, and to give to my Armenian community here, and the other guys, all of them are respectful to Armenians, and they need to know the truth. Thank you for that. Please.
Absolutely. Mnatsakan, what I'll do is give me 5 seconds where you don't talk. 5 seconds where you don't talk. I'll do now a wrap up and thank you for that so that I've got the end of the interview and then we can see where we cut. I might have to cut some bits out where maybe it is becoming too anti-Turkish, too anti-Russian. And I will not censor you by any means, but there might be some things I need to check with YouTube, with the YouTube, how do they call it? YouTube guidelines. If we are actually extremist in our view of that, personally, I don't believe. I absolutely stand behind everything you said, but I'm not sure with regards to if we get punished by YouTube. So I need to do a little bit of homework there and actually look into that. But I absolutely will work together with you. We'll give you the material, so push it out to you so that you can very much use it. What I'll do now is I'll wrap up.
The raw material, please. Without cutting.
Delighted. I put that onto WeTransfer or something like that. I will email that to you. Okay, then you can work with that. Fantastic. Let me wrap it up now, though. So 5 seconds, sound clap. Wow, that was an in-depth look at the Armenian genocide. And truly, we can ask ourselves, is that genocide not continuing now? And not just talking about 1915 and 1923, but in fact, have there not been ongoing attempts at the Armenian population to get rid of this population for good? Now that was a shit ending. Try that again. 5 seconds.
But can I receive the raw material, please?
Absolutely, you will get it. No doubt.
Both of them, your version cut in the interviews, all interviews, and all raw material, because I need to understand what we spoke. Maybe in future, then YouTube will be more democratic without this censorship. We can use that in the future. Maybe
that's a very good point actually you're making there. Absolutely. So 5 seconds. I want to express my gratitude to you. I've had a Colonel cough. Oh God, my mind is now going on blanky. Unbelievable. Another 5 seconds. Come on, I can do that. 5 seconds.
Of course. You did a great job. You are doing.
Colonel Mnatsakan Khachathryan, it was an honor to have you on my show. Thank you so much for shedding light and giving us this beautiful, deep insight into the Armenian history, dating back thousands of years to now. And when I started this interview, I was focused on 1915, and I wanted to talk about that isolated incident. And it's only now at the end of this interview that I can understand the ongoing pressure and the ongoing attempts to destroy the Armenian people and an Armenian country. For that, I'm very grateful. You have really, truly opened my eyes and gave me a different insight into politics. For that, I'm incredibly grateful to you. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Guys out there, this was such an atypical interview for our channel. But again, we need to talk about the truth out there, because by standing up to extremism and standing up to, and by learning about the history, learning about the truth, not the truth as it is written by the victor or as it is falsified by nowadays on social media or etc. It is so important that we know the facts, and that the more we can hear and the more we can learn, the more we can make our own, create our own picture in our mind, and maybe prevent future atrocities, future genocides, future attacks on civil liberties. There is a lot we can do, but we only can do it when we learn from the lessons of history. So, Colonel, I'm incredibly grateful. And to you out there, look after yourself. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that was the cut. That was the end. So I'm very happy to make that all available to you. Absolutely. What I need is your email. I'm not sure that you emailed me. Maybe put it into the LinkedIn messages that we exchanged. Maybe this would be a really good way to do it. And I will assure that you get everything.
You know why? Because in the LinkedIn, they sometimes they made a problem for me, make problem. And it's blocked for a time, and I can't go inside.
Is that because you are deemed too extreme in your views?
No, it's a technical problem.
Right.
They say confirm your identity.
Oh,
now,
I see.
Yeah,
I see it.
see?
Yes,
MNRAFKHACH at Gmail. Yeah,
I've got it. So thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much.
And
this was an amazing journey for me. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. You are doing a great job, sir. Because every such a channel, it's a kind of prevention of genocide, prevention of extremism, prevention of crimes.
Yeah,
you are doing your part very well. Thank you for that. And your country is amazing country, New Zealand. From starting from that, from the southern hemisphere, you come to fight for the liberty.
Mnatsakan, thank you. You honor me.
And I saw the bravery of this chivalry of these guys with the guns. Oh my God, they are really brave.
I need to let you go. My bladder is bursting.
Are you based in Wellington or in Auckland?
Neither nor, in beautiful Rotorua, which is North Island, a very picturesque place. Hopefully one day you can visit. But now I need to let you go. Thank you so much for your time. I sent you all the best.
Can I ask you your Viber number? I put your individual number. Can I contact you with Viber or I don't know, WhatsApp or something else?
Absolutely. What I do, I email you, and there's all my information there. How about that?
That's it.
Look after yourself. Bye.